Hi, I am Ali, and today we're going to talk about dopamine. But what is dopamine? Let's find out. Dopamine is an organic chemical that works as a neurotransmitter. It means that it's a chemical that transmits signals from the brain to our body.
Hi, but what about the chemistry part of it?
You're right. Thanks for reminding me. Let's dig more into this chemical research about dopamine. Come on. I am going to need the help of Mr. Tonelli for this.
Need a chemical explanation? I am on my way! Hello class, I am Mr. Tonelli. Let's talk about dopamine's chemistry. This is dopamine's molecular formula: 8 carbons, 11 hydrogens, 1 nitrogen, and 2 oxygens. And this is its Lewis structure, as you can see in the board.
Remember that chemical bonds are the glue that holds the molecules together. And what are the types of bonds that dopamine has?
Dopamine has an intramolecular bonds, of which 3 are hydrogen bonds. Polarity of the bonds: it has both polar and nonpolar bonds. There are 6 elemental bonds in dopamine. So, how do you know the polarity of the bonds?
Correct. We use the electronegativity table to know the difference between the atoms.
This is the table of electronegativity. These are the ranges to know if a bond is polar, nonpolar, or ionic. So, as you can see, the oxygen-hydrogen bond is polar, the oxygen-carbon bond is polar, the carbon-carbon is nonpolar, the carbon-hydrogen is polar, the nitrogen-carbon is polar, and the nitrogen-hydrogen is polar. Even though we have non-polar bonds in the molecule, dopamine is a polar molecule.
It has a benzene ring in the center, the ring is non-polar. It makes the molecule slightly less polar. That enhances that dopamine can't pass the blood-brain barrier.
Dopamine has 5 loaded pairs, 2 in each oxygen and 1 in nitrogen, but yet its formal charge is neutral. The lone pairs are very negative, which makes the molecule very attractive or very repulsive.
The protein and dopamine molecules repel each other, which causes dopamine to flow nicely through the bloodstream without being restricted. Mr. Tonelli, and which are the properties of dopamine, since it is a polar molecule?
Let me show you the dopamine properties. Come on. First, let's start with the physical properties. First, let's start by saying that it is a solid, as you can see in this image to the left. Then, its boiling point is of 227 Celsius degrees, and its melting point is of 128 Celsius degrees. Its solubility is 600 grams per liter. It is only soluble in water, methanol, and ethanol. It is not soluble in petroleum ether, chloroform, and benzene. Now, come on with me to keep on looking at its chemical properties, which are: first, it is highly sensitive to oxygen. It discolors quickly. Secondly, it's extremely unstable in the alkaline media. Third, it's extremely sensitive to light. And fourth, when heated to decomposition, it emits toxic fumes of nitrous oxides. Lastly, it decomposes at 241 Celsius degrees. And those are the properties of this molecule.
Mr. Tonelli, and how is dopamine made?
That's a good question. Let me explain to you what reaction produces dopamine. All this chemical process happens in your brain and in your kidneys. First, we start with the molecule of L-tyrosine. We add tetrahydrobiopropane and oxygen to this molecule. We get the process of tyrosine hydroxylase, and we get as a leaving group the hydrobiopropane and water. Secondly, we get L-dopa as a product of the last reaction, and we get an aromatic amino acid decarboxylase process, which means that we take a carboxyl out from this molecule. We get as a living group CO2. And thirdly, we get dopamine as a result of this.
Oh, and who discovered the molecule of dopamine?
Dr. Arvid Carlson discovered dopamine in 1957. And he actually showed that it is a neurotransmitter in the brain. Now, I'm going to let Ali explain to you the functions of dopamine.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Tonelli. I've made some research and found out that the functions of dopamine are of movement, of memory, pleasurable reward,
Delicious.
We're acting like him.
You're exactly
behavior
like your
and
mother. Everything
cognition,
you're complaining about her, you're doing. You're suffocating Henry.
What
attention,
if are two words as non-threatening as words can be.
helps us with our sense of location, helps us regulate our moods,
When life gets you down, you know what you gotta do?
it helps us to regulate our sense of motivation,
Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
and helps us regulate our sleep. And you can see that dopamine works very well in my body while I am in chemistry class. I also found out that when there is a deficit of dopamine, it can cause depression, Parkinson's disease,
Extra out of it today.
it can cause bipolar disorder,
I met a very reliable doctor at a Cypress Hill concert, and he floated me a couple pills just to feel better, you know. But I don't feel better, you feel worse!
What's your name?
it can cause Alzheimer,
It's me, Mom. Meredith.
All right. I used to be a doctor, I think.
Do you want some? No!
it can cause addictions,
bibble do you have? We bought a big tin jug of it from England.
and in the other side, where there is an excess of dopamine, it can cause euphoria,
I need the bee's knees. Ooh, tell her what you did, Big Daddy. Tell her!
I feel
hallucinations,
weird. Hey, oh, I love you guys.
I love you so much.
Who can make a sunrise? Sprinkle it with you.
it can cause intense sexual feelings,
Here he comes.
I like 'em big. I like 'em chunky. I like 'em big. I like 'em lumpy. I like 'em round with something, something. They like my sound. They think I'm funky. Yes, girl, you huge.
Who's your friend? Or is that your friend?
and it can cause a person to be aggressive.
Stop singing! It's no wonder you don't have any friends. Take a look at me. What am I? No! I'm an ogre. Please, I don't want to go back there. You don't. Oh! Outside! Good night.
Excellent. Now you know everything you need to know from dopamine. Graduated from organic chemistry specialized in dopamine.
Thanks for spending your time watching this video. I hope you liked it.